right, welcome everybody to another edition of Cafecito and Canes. It is Tuesday night. It's game week, which I have been waiting, 9 months to say that, but it's great to finally have the season here. Bringing some of the chat. Orange and green blood, what's going on, sir? David, what's going on? Mitch, had a dream we lost to FSU 17-14 or 7. I woke up pissed. I've had those dreams too in the offseason. Hopefully that does not come true. Pretty confident about that game. But I got a few things to talk about. Leading up to the Bethune-Cookman game, obviously going to talk a little bit about the opponent, talk, some of the recent news, our new running back transfer that we got to add to the depth at running back, which was sorely needed. And just a few other things. As I may have teased, got a surprise guest. It is a former Miami Hurricane from the years, if I have my years correct, maybe he'll correct me. I want to say 03 to 06, 03 to 07, around there. He is former Miami Hurricanes punter and current podcaster, Mr. Brian Monroe. Let me bring him in. Sir, what's going on, man?
Dylan, how you doing?
Good, man, good. So yeah, man, it's game week, finally.
Seems like it's been forever, right? I mean, I put up a meme before. I said I was wondering if football season misses me as much as I miss football season. And it's true, right? Because, we're football junkies, so we can't wait for the season to get here. It's finally here, but I feel like these next couple of days are going to last forever. But, I'm ready. I'm ready for the Tuesday night MAC games. I just need football in my life, so I'm ready for Saturday.
Yeah. By any chance, was it that meme with Kermit the Frog looking out the rainy window?
It was. That's exactly what.
Yeah, I love that one. If we're killing Bethune, you think they let TVD continue to streak? We will talk about the upcoming opponent. To answer your question, Mitch, no, I don't think so. I think if all goes according to plan, I don't think the starters play for very long. Kane, Idaho, what's going on, sir? Thank you for being. And wanted to bring you on because I'm a huge fan of the show, and obviously, I've heard on the radio you've done post game stuff here and there over the years. I've always liked your insights, so wanted to bring you on to kind of get your take on now that the off season's officially over. We're heading into the season, and you played when Mario was an assistant on the team.
Yeah.
So the guys. So you tell me what. Is there anything that Mario Cristobal could have done this offseason that was any better than what he did so far? Did he pretty much handle everything perfectly as far as hires and way he handled himself in interviews, just kind of across the board?
I mean, I think for Mario, he's always going to be a perfectionist and thinks that he could have done more, maybe landed another guy or two. But from looking on the outside in, I mean, it's probably the best coaching staff we've had since maybe the Jimmy Johnson eras, those type of guys. I think he, hit a home run when it came to offense and defensive coordinator, as well as, the assistants and the analysts. Anytime you can get a Hall of Famer like Jason Taylor to be an analyst and help out your defensive line, your defense, and even offensive linemen, because every day that you go to practice, you have a guy that's seen every single snap, every single offense, every single defense. You can ask him any question in the world. So having two Hall of Famers on defense, I think is something amazing. He brought over Coach Feld from Oregon that, everybody that I've talked to in the industry, he's one of the best strength coaches that you can go to. Sitting down with him and listening to him and, what he goes through in everyday life and stuff like that and his philosophies, it's what you want, and I think he's bringing Miami into the new age of football, almost like an SEC type program as far as the coaching staff, the analysts, the strength coach, and then everyone else surrounding them. I mean, I go to the building now and I see 30 new faces every single day. I don't know who these people are. It's just, recruiting this. Oh, they're recruiting that. Oh, they're designing this. I'm like, wow. So I think Mario crushed it when it came to the hiring process. And then you look at our recruits. I mean, on signing day last year, he was able to flip guys that weren't going to come here. He was able to flip Skinner, the Alabama tight end that came here. We were able to get Nigel E. Kelly, who everyone's talking about highly, that he wasn't going to come here. He's most likely going to go to Oregon. We were able to go to Las Vegas and get Cyrus Moss. He wasn't coming here, but we were able to get him. And then the big guy that actually just went down, an injury, Citizen, he was able to get him in the SEC country to take it from LSU in Florida. So I think recruiting right now, we're sitting in most websites top 10. And you see some of the guys he's gotten to commit, the number one tackle, Francis Mauigoa. Those guys would have never came here in the last 10 years, most likely. They would have went somewhere else. So I think the relationships he's built, the type of guy he is, the type of coach he is, I think you're going to see those type of recruits coming in no matter what moving forward in the future.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you about Coach Feld and the staff, with the times like SEC style, the way they run things. Do you think over the last 15, 20 years that Miami, I guess, kind of fell behind in that regard when it comes to fitness, nutrition, recovery, and, all the way to preparing for games and things like that? Do you think Miami kind of fell behind the times in a way?
Well, yeah, and I don't think it's really the coach's fault. They didn't really have the funding to keep up with some of the schools that are, doing the top, to get some of the top guys, to get some of the top program, the top nutrition, you need money, you need funding. And, we weren't there. And, that's one of the reasons Mario finally came back and said, well, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what's going to take for us to compete with the Alabamas of the world and the Georgias of the world, the Clemsons of the world. And they, they're given the resources. So he's able to now compete. And you can see that with the future plans of the football complex they're going to build and the new facilities, they're putting in the resources that I don't think every coach in the past got. So I can't really say it's all on the coaches, because the only way to compete in this game is money.
Yeah, agree. Speaking of, we got like a teaser of what the new stadium might look like, assuming we get it. It would be in Tropical Park. I know Hurricane fans are, but some people maybe in the city of Miami are torn on that. There's a lot of Broward fans. I'm all in favor of it. How do you feel about it when you saw that?
I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. It looks dope. The renderings are sick. It's always cool. I guess it'd be cool to have your own stadium. I just don't think players really care. I mean, in all honesty, when we played in the OB, we stayed in the lakes. We were already a 25-minute bus ride no matter what going to the OB. And all we do is sit back and you're really focused on the game. And, you got your police escorts. I don't think, guys really care too much about it. I think I have a lot more questions about the stadium because, okay, so we say this is our stadium, right? But really it's the Ruiz family stadium if they're the ones putting up the money. So how does that work with split revenue share for the school? Is the Ruiz family just going to say, oh, we're just giving you the stadium and you guys, we're good, you take all the profits? Like, that's a question that I have with it. I do love the renderings. I think it's sick. But also, we're going to put in some new infrastructure, some roads, because if you're telling me we're all going down 826 Bird Road and Miller, and it's going to be 60,000 people, good luck, because we can go there right now on a 5 o'clock on a Friday, and it's dead stop. So I think that resources could be used so much more quicker if they're put more towards the facility, because that will benefit Miami football so much sooner. Because if we look at any of the stadium deals that we've had in the most recent year, and the most recent one right now would probably be the Inter Miami deal. That's been going on for how many years, and they haven't even broken ground. And they finally got it approved. They're in Fort Lauderdale. So is that something we'd have to deal with as far as getting Miami or whoever owns the land to approve? And then how long is it going to take to get everything approved? Because, in Miami, when it comes to construction, everything takes forever. So I just think there's a lot to it. I think that, if we really wanted to benefit Miami right now in money, it'd be going towards the new facility because it's going to cost a lot. And I think you can do a lot more with the money right now as far as helping Miami.
That's an interesting point. I didn't think of it from that angle. Like you said, it would definitely be sick to have, but on the same, at the same time, you can pack Hard Rock Stadium if you win. We proved that in 2017. And how awesome of an atmosphere was that place? Not just Notre Dame against Tech that same year, against Virginia same year, the big comeback against FSU the following year. I mean, all those awesome atmospheres.
Yeah, I love Hard Rock. I'm not gonna lie, I love Hard Rock. I think it's a great stadium for fans. as far as what they've done to the stadium, the concession area, that kind of stuff. Obviously, my love is for the OB because that's where I played. It's kind of like the old school stadiums where it's so much closer to the field and we can really feel the fans. But like you mentioned, 2017, game day came down here and Kirk Herbstreit said this is one of the loudest environments I've been in since I've done this. And it was. And I get it. There's a lot of things going on in the economy and everybody can go to the games. But if we can pack that stadium, it definitely could be a home field advantage for us. And we live in Miami. I get it, 12 o'clock playing against Southern Miss. Probably people want to go on the boat or the pool party or something. But, we only got 7 games. So I think that if, our fans show up and be as crazy as their normally is, it can truly be a home field advantage for us.
I agree. And listen, aside from that one noon game, I think if we got favorable kickoff times like North Carolina, FSU, and all those are like 3:30 games, 7:30, 8 p.m. games, I think we'll be all right crowd-wise.
Yeah.
But, but look, the more you win, less noon kickoffs there are. You're getting noon kickoffs because you're not that high profile. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. So regarding the team, what we've seen in camp and stuff in the offseason. So I'm feeling pretty confident going into the year as far as us, I'm not saying we're going to compete for a playoff spot or anything, but, you tell me 9-3, 10-2. I know we say that every year. I'm fully aware of that. But this year, I almost expect 9-3, 10-2. I think anything less than that would be a letdown. That's just me. Now, from a player's perspective, is there anything that you see on this team that could keep us from getting to that point?
Well, I mean, everyone I think's read the reports and heard the news. Obviously, you're going to initially get better no matter what with the coaching staff, right? So some of the things that we've been bad at the last couple of years have been short yardage, protection up front on our offensive line. So initially you're just like, okay, we don't have the right guys to compete with the Clemsons of the world. But then you look at, okay, we got Coach Cristobal coming in, Coach Maribel. They're going to help no matter what. So to me, that's one of the areas I'm going to look for. Can we open up runs? Can we get short yardage, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1? Because we've been terrible at it. And can we protect TBD? That's really going to be if we're an 8-4, 7-5 to a 9-3, 10-2. Also, who's the number 1 receiver? Do we have one? Do we have consistent receivers? Right. So the 3 names I keep hearing when I went to practice, I saw Xavier Restrepo, Keyshawn Smith, and I like Frank Ladson on the other side. Who's the guys behind them? We have a lot of young talent, but are they going to be consistent? Right. Because I was at, practice where we had a couple drops. And the biggest thing is TBD can do everything he wants. He can put perfect ball. If you don't catch it, that's an incompletion. So that can be an 8-4 season or a 10-2 season. Did we go up and win the 50-50 ball or did we drop it and now we're punting? So I think those are the concerns you have on offense, whether we can get a consistent run game because we haven't really had that in a while with the offensive line. Can we keep them upright? And can we catch the ball consistently on the outside? I think the tight end room is going to help so much more because there's a couple guys in there I think you can be really dependent on with Will Mallory. And I think Arroyo is going to really step up this year. He's a freak. And on defense, I think they did a great job identifying that the defensive line was a weakness last year and we had to go change it up. So they went into the transfer portal and got 5 guys. And a lot of those guys have been amazing in practice. I mean, Mesidor has been crazy. I mean, in the backfield at the time, our quarterbacks didn't even get the ball off when I was at practice because literally he was in the backfield every single play. You talk about Aguda, the guy from UCLA has been playing well. Lichtenstein stepped it up on the inside. I think the biggest area that you're going to have to concern on the defense is linebacker. Can Caleb Johnson from UCLA, the transfer, be the middle linebacker that we need? Can some of these young guys step up like Keontra Smith, who's gained 20 pounds? Can a Chase Smith step up on the outside linebacker and get consistent play? Because we were the worst tackling team in America last year. And in the first, 4 or 3 games or whatever, it wasn't even close how many missed tackles we had. So, that's a big area of can they improve? And again, I think they are going to improve just because of the coaches that they hired. With Coach Steele and Coach Strong. Those are 2 guys that have been around it, been at championship levels and multiple teams. And I think the attitude is going to change. It's going to be more of a want to, and it's not going to be more of a comfort like, well, I'm a senior, I'm a junior. I know I'm not going to get my place taken. I'm still on the field. Like, no, if you don't play well, Coach Cristobal is going to sit you and you're going to get chewed out. So I think that accountability, you're going to see a big difference this year. But I think If that linebacker play doesn't step up, then you're not going to see a 10-2 team.
Yeah, no, great points. One thing that I've noticed, like obviously a big issue that we've had over the years is we can't win, quote unquote, the big game, or we don't show up for the big game, I should say. Aside from Notre Dame 2017, we haven't shown up just consistently year after year. One common thread I've noticed in those games is the offensive line. We cannot get any semblance of a running game going. And I mean, like, halftime, we have 3 rushing yards. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I think I'm of the opinion, I think we see a difference this year one in that department. Do you think it happens that quick, or do you think it's going to take a little while before we're competing on the ground at that level?
Well, I think you're going to see a difference, like I mentioned, because of the coaches you brought in. So the technique that they're teaching, the guys that are consistently play, I think you're just going to see a better level of play from our guys. I don't think we are there as far as players that we need to compete at the championship level for the, even in the ACC, not even the, I'm not even talking about the playoff picture, just even the ACC. Because you look at Clemson. Clemson's probably going to have the best defensive line in college football, maybe besides Alabama. They got multiple first-round picks on that line. Do we have the guys up front to protect them? I don't know. I don't think so. When you look at it consistently for the last couple of years, we've had a guy or two here and there, but we don't have depth. We don't have elite bodies across the board, right? So last year, who was our best pass rusher? Most guys really wouldn't know. We had a guy from a transfer from Tennessee that maybe had 4.5 sacks. That's not going to get it done. The year before that, Jalen Phillips. Okay, great. Another transfer. And then before that, we had Russo. Great. But we only had him for a year. So the only way that you're going to compete is that I have 6 dudes that I know that can go out there and be draft picks are going to be dudes. 3 of them are going to be first-round picks. Behind them, I got some freshmen that I know are going to be dudes, but they can't play right now because I already have too many guys in front of them. Let them get in the weight room. Let them get in nutrition. Go from the 225 to the 250, 245 that we need to be at. So I don't think we have the guys that we need up front consistently and depth-wise to be a playoff team or compete. I think Coach Cristobal will continue to recruit, continue to hit the transfer portal, and get the right guys that he needs. Like, again, you got the number 1 offensive tackle in America committed to Miami. He's also in it with, I think, the kid from Massachusetts, the number 2 or 3 offensive tackle in the country. Once you start seeing him recruit those type of bodies and bringing in those type of players, now it doesn't matter where we go. We are going to compete. We're going to tell you exactly what we're doing, and we're going to run you over. I'm going to smash you in the mouth. Right now, I have to see it, to be honest. I honestly have to see it because I still think at certain positions on our offensive line, we're a little suspect. Like, I like the left side. I do like Zion Nelson. I think Jalen Rivers is probably going to be the best offensive lineman that we have this year. Jakari Clark, the center, is a good one as well. Right side, I don't know.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, there's some unproven spots for sure, but we'll see. Even these first couple of games, maybe not. Won't tell the whole story, but they might tell you something. You brought up transfer portal guys that we've added. What do you think of the recent transfer portal addition from a couple of days ago? I think it was yesterday. The running back Lucius Stanley.
Yeah, so we had to do something because we only have 3 scholarship running backs on the roster right now, and that's not enough to go throughout the whole year. We saw that last year when we had a bunch of guys go down, and we had to overuse Rooster. I honestly haven't gotten too much into his film just yet. I've looked up his stats. I've saw some highlights. He's a bigger guy, but the thing that you like about it is that he's a senior. He's experienced. He's seen ball. He's going to play in special teams to help you out with the bodies there. And then he's most likely, being a senior, he's going to be able to pass protect. So you'll be able to trust him a little bit more, picking up different coverages. Again, he's been brought in to be a 4th running back. And that's okay, because if you look at him at UAB, that's what he was. I just like it because we needed another guy. We needed bodies, because you really can't go in there and saying that, okay, we got Parrish and Russo as our guys, and then Thad's going to come in. That's it. That's all we got. Like, it's not enough. Like, I'm hoping Chaney can come back in weeks and not months to get him back, because he's a guy that can do it all. He's a little bit bigger than some of the guys. He's got the ability to run away from you, his ability to run through you. So it definitely hurt losing him. And Citizen looked the part when we were at practice. He just didn't look like a freshman. Did we have high hope for them? Yes, but we still didn't know what he was going to do this year. And you didn't want to throw him in and be 50% of the downs. You wanted to be about 20 to 30%. So hoping for a speedy recovery. But again, that's the type of bodies that Cristobal has been recruiting. The kid was already the biggest running back on the roster. Like, that tells you something. You know, it's not good. You want to have a couple guys looking like that to say, okay, no matter if this one went down, boom, we got 3 more that look like him that can do everything. So until we get to that level of depth, we're gonna have some issues because it's football. You're gonna have injuries no matter what.
Yeah, no, totally with you on the depth. We're not there yet at every position. You got to be, especially now, not so much, for whatever reason, not so much 15, 20 years ago, but now you need layers and layers of depth. And you need size. I think Coach Cristobal's already improving the team size with the guys he's added. A lot of 6'4", 6'5", 270 kind of guys, which I look at the guys on the roster and it's like, man, I didn't realize how small we were until you bring these guys in. So that was
all you got to do is look at when we played the SEC schools. When we played against Bama last year, the size difference was glaring. You're just like, all right, well, know what's going to happen now, and some of the guys on my podcast, we were talking, they're talking about this and talking about that. I go, bro, we don't have the players to compete with them. Like, I love my team to death, but you have to be objective when you look at it and say, it's Alabama. They're top 2 recruiting classes for the last 10 years, right? So the body types are different. Every single year they got a first or second round offensive lineman. We don't. Every single year they got 2 off the first round defensive linemen. We don't. It's a different thing. Football is won in the trenches. I always taught that and know that. We don't have those type of bodies. It's going to happen. Coach Cristobal, no matter what, is going to get the right guys. I can guarantee you that. It's just that we haven't had that size. We get spurts. We get a guy here, a guy there that does some things. But to compete, you got to be elite and you got to have depth. And we just don't have it. So I know fans have a lot of hope and stuff like that, but let's just be a little bit patient because it's going to take some time to get some of the dudes in, but we will get there.
Yeah. Norman, thank you so much for the donation. We need more elite guys up front, offense and defense. Exactly what Mr. Monroe just said. You just brought back an old memory that I had purged from my brain. The 07 game when we went up to Norman, Oklahoma. I don't know if you were still on the team.
I was not. First year out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, I was like, I think we got a chance in that game. And I just first snap.
I think I lost you there.
Still there? Oh,
yep.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that 07 game when we went up to Norman, it was, you saw in the first snap the size differential. It was bad.
Listen, and you look at these high school kids now, is their nutrition, their strength training is through the roof. I mean, these kids are coming in as almost like young men. Like it's crazy. But how you can tell as well is that if you look at our linebacker commitments right now, they're all bigger than the guys on our roster. 6'1", 220, 6'2", 215, 6'1", 230. I'm like, we ain't got that on our team right now. I mean, we don't. And like we were at Wesley Pissaint from Central last year. Coach Cristobal sealed a deal with that. But for us to get back to where we were back in the day, you need to have it across the board where that the backup linebackers are going to get drafted in the NFL, and then the young pups can be somebody. Like I remember when I went to school, we had Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams was our starters. Behind them, we had Leon Williams, Rocky McIntosh. Both got drafted in the NFL. Yep. Behind that, you had John Beeson as a freshman. First round pick. Tavares Gooden, drafted in the NFL. So it's like you just look down the roster and say, okay, cool. We know you're going to be that guy. You just got to wait your turn. And that's cool because you get to get your body right, because not all high school kids are ready to compete in college football. You're able to get nutrition. You're able to get the game to slow down because, again, in high school, sometimes it's just see ball, get ball. It's not really taught the way that you're going to be taught in college. And when we were good, I mean, we had backup linebackers that were special teams guys that got drafted in the 6th round and would play for 5-6 years in the NFL because they were that good. And that's what you have to get back to. And we haven't had that in the longest time. And I just think that having Coach Cristobal at the helm, former players can see what his vision is, and we know how he is as a coach and a guy, and he's going to get the right guys. They're going to identify the right talent and bring in the right people.
Yeah, man. Agreed. One or two more questions, and then we'll get you out of here. So we got this big game coming up on the 17th, right, at College Station. You played in quite a few of these yourself. You were around the team. One that comes to mind is '05 Virginia Tech. That's one fans love to bring up. It's one of my all-time favorites to go back and watch. They were number, 3? We were number 5 or 6, and we went up there and we whooped them on national TV.
I remember that game.
Yeah. Take that game, for example. With this game coming up, how do you how was the team when you were there, like in '05 for that game? Was it like us against the world, chip on their shoulder kind of mentality, or was it just like, you know what, we're not going to build them up too much? It's another game, it's another opponent. We'll prepare. We'll go out there and whoop them and get out of there. Like what?
I mean, I think I guess with us, it's more of, our guys knew we were better than them, right? So you almost feel like disrespected that they're 3 and we're number 6.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go play Virginia Tech, I will give them that. It's a very impressive, hostile environment. They get that thing rocking, Enter the Sandman, them annoying ass turkey calls and stuff like that. But I can remember on a defensive bus when we were talking about it, and they're like, let's shut these people up and let's not hear one of these damn turkey calls. And literally, that's what the defense did. I mean, Marcus Vick couldn't do anything that night. And it was more of a mindset of, we want to shut their crowd up so we don't hear that annoying turkey call. We want them talking so much shit to us because we're whooping their team. And I feel like I don't know this current team, so I don't know how their mentality is, how their attitude is when it comes to stuff like that. But I just know guys that I had on teams that I played for were just different. They were different dudes. They were wired different, and their desire to be great, it was just that's the reason why so many of those guys played in the league and did what they did and played for so long. You got to find the guys that are so hungry to be great at something that they refuse to lose, or they refuse to stop practicing or not doing this. Like, I'm going to do extra. I'm going to stay afterwards and catch from the jugs. I'm going to go run extra. Like, you got to find those different mentality guys, because that's what bring other guys up that maybe don't have the mentality but are talented.
Yeah.
So for us, we had some dudes that just, like Kareem Brown, Baraka Atkins, John Beeson, Brandon Merriweather, like dudes just didn't want to lose. Like, and then they like to talk shit. Us, we got swag and stuff like that. So our defense loved to talk shit and just wanted to shut them up and dance on their fields. And that's what we did. And and it's the same way when I was a freshman, because I was lucky enough to sit on the defensive bus being a punter. I sat around our juniors and senior guys, Sean Taylor, John Vilma, Vince Wilfork, DJ Williams, Antro Roll. So I got to hear all the conversations as a true freshman. And just going into my very first game in the OB against Florida, that everyone remembers the big comeback, Devin Hester return, you just listen to these guys talk about them, and you're like, well, damn, they don't got a chance in us. Like, we're going to kill them the way that these dudes are talking. And it's just, again, it's a mentality that they know that they prepared so well throughout the week that they know exactly what's going to happen, and they are going to execute, and they're going to win. And I think that's exactly what Coach Cristobal is going to bring to this team, that preparation throughout the week, throughout summertime, throughout spring and camp, he's going to have them mentally ready to know that we're ready for this game. We know exactly what's going to come at them. They can't, stay in the field with us. So let's go ahead. Let's knock them out. Let's get this W, and let's go home and celebrate. So I think that one of the biggest things you will see with Coach Cristobal and some of the guys he brought in as far as coaching staff, because you go to practice and listen to these coaches, and they finally chewing these boys out again and making them sprint in between drills, and dudes are throwing up. And it's just, music to former players' ears, because we've missed that. We've missed that intensity in practice, where practice should be tougher than games. So I think that what fans should be excited for is that you're going to see a different Miami Hurricanes team when it comes to preparation, energy, flying around, and not taking any opponents lightly.
Love it. Yeah, you brought back some great memories, and man, you got me excited. You got me pumped. One last question, because you were on some great teams. You might have already mentioned it, but favorite, I guess, memory from your playing days. It could be, a certain game that you guys won, maybe a certain play you were involved in. Best memory from your playing days.
Oof, we had a bunch. I think one of the best, and it stands out to me what I just mentioned, because it was my first game in the OB. It just so happened to be at night. It just happened to be against Florida. It just happened to be one of the, I guess we would say, most historic comebacks that we've had at University of Miami of all time. That stands out to me. But then I would say, I'll probably say my freshman year, the rain game up in Florida State.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Being able to witness Sean Taylor be Sean Taylor in that game, maybe, should have had 4 or 5 picks that game, but just, somebody just to take over that game, go up there, win in Florida State for the first time. I think those are probably my 2 favorite memories as a Cane.
Both awesome games. And you're right. I go back and watch the highlights of that game. People in the chat, if you haven't, yeah, Sean got his hands on like 5 or 6 balls, but the ball was all muddy and wet. So, like,
if it wasn't for the rain, he would have had 5 picks that game. I guarantee it. I mean, Sean is, and I don't mean to cut you off. Sean is, I hate when analysts say this is the next Sean Taylor. This could be the next Sean Taylor. Like when they said that about Derwin James from Florida State when he was coming out. Don't get me wrong. Derwin James, nice player. He's a really good player. There is not going to be another Sean Taylor. I'm sorry. There's just not going to be another Sean Taylor. When I tell you he is a freak, you're never going to see a player like that because his size, his speed, his athletic ability, his smarts for the game, his desire to be great. You're not going to have that to put that together. Sean could have easily been an all-pro receiver, an all-pro running back, an all-pro corner, an all-pro linebacker, and of course he's an all-pro safety. So it always annoys me when they say, "Oh, the next Sean Taylor." Like, no, like there's no comparison when it comes to a Sean Taylor because it's going to be hard to find a guy that's built 6'2", 6'2 and a half, 230 something, and runs the way he does. And it's like, he's a freak. I mean, Sean was a freak. And I still don't know how he didn't win the Jim Thorpe Award that year. That's the biggest robbery I could ever think about.
No, don't even remind me of that. Yeah, no, he really was the GOAT. It's not just the slogan we put on shirts. He really, if not greatest Hurricane ever, he's top 2, top 3 at worst.
Yeah, I think Coach Cristobal brought this up saying no one's going to wear, 26 and no one's going to wear 1. And fans are like, oh, we should retire 26. And I go, look, it's hard to retire our numbers because, 1, we've lost so many great players, right? So
we run out of numbers.
We lost Sean too early. We lost Blades too early. We lost Jerome Brown too early. We lost Cortez Kennedy. These are all Hall of Fame type players. Then if you go into just our great players, forget about it. We couldn't fill the roster. We couldn't fill the roster. and I get the frustration from fans and saying we should retire 26. I love the way that he's saying that 26 won't be earned. I mean, 26 won't be given, it'll be earned. I think that's a great way to, remember Sean Taylor, to say that it's kind of like LSU does that with one of their numbers where you have to earn it. Somebody that's put in the hard work, like a Patrick Peterson or a Tyrann Mathieu. Like if we get a guy like that that's earned it, I'm all for memorizing Sean like that.
Yeah, man. Agreed. Anyways, man, didn't want to keep you on too long, but thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. Have fun chatting with you. Always love talking to former players, especially from that era. Real quick, tell people where they can find your podcast, how often you do it, and where else they can find your content.
So you can follow me on Instagram at bmonroe15. I post a lot of stuff there. You have links to my All Canes Radio podcast that we do. We probably start up again. My Twitter is B_Monroe15. I post some of the stuff on radio, so I will be doing the pregame show again this year. So if you guys are driving to the stadium, every 4 hours before the game, we go live on 560 WQAM before every single game. And we break down opponents, we break down our team. We talk about the games before, what's going on in football. And then I got some new things in the work with some other former players that potentially might be released in a week or two. So Canes fans will really enjoy that new podcast. So we'll have fun.
Nice. Looking forward to that. All right, man.
Take it easy, guys.
All right. That was Brian Monroe, former Canes punter from 2003 to 2006. He was on some awesome teams, man. He was part of that, like I mentioned, that Vatek, ass whooping that we laid on him in 05. He was, the 03 rain game against FSU, the 03 comeback against Florida, the overtime game against FSU to open the 04 season. Let's see what else. The Peach Bowl against Florida in 04. The list goes on. There were a few more. But yeah, again, always love talking to any former players, but especially from that era that I kind of, grew up watching, late 90s into the mid 2000s. So thank you again, Brian, for being on. Let's see if I missed anything good in the chat here. What up, guys? Leaving the upstate of South Carolina for the 305 with my wife. Ready for the game Saturday at Hard Rock. Cannot wait to bring a new era at the crib. Very nice, Kevin Porter. So you're leaving like tonight? Like you're leaving as we speak, or you're leaving like Friday or something? Either way, man, safe travels. That's awesome. Never forget Sean Taylor. I will never forget the rain game against FSU. Dominating at the NFL Pro Bowl with the hit that he had. I remember all of it, man. Let's see. Leaving tomorrow. All right. Yeah, safe travels, man. All right, everybody, please go and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, go follow Mr. Monroe on his on the All Canes Radio podcast. He weren't as active during the off season. They're going to be starting that up again. I remember listening to a lot of episodes during the season last year and leading up to it. It's always great. They always have former players and stuff, great stories. I always like listening to it. But thank you guys for being on, man. 86 in the chat. Please all the buttons, like, subscribe, share, all of it. It all helps me. As always, it's all about the you. If you could see, my green screen is not cooperating today. I am sorry, guys, but I'm trying to throw up the you. It's just my hands disappear. But go Canes. Hope to see some of you at the game. See me at the Team Flow chat or Team Flow. What can I say? The Team Flow tailgate. Come say hi, say what's up. And I'll see you guys next time. As always, go Canes.